All right, in this video I want to talk about basic strum patterns for your right hand and some good techniques, the technique that you want to follow with your right hand. I'm going to start with the technique. When you strum with your right hand, there's three basic right hand rules I want you to think about. Okay, these are not etched in stone, but they've helped me to become a much better rhythm player. Number one, well, first off, when you hold your pick, hold it pretty close to the point. Let me get this close up here if it'll focus in. There we go. I'm holding it about 2/3 of the way down, and I use my index finger down the back, thumb in front. Okay. I have nails because I'm a classical guitarist, so these are my built-in picks for finger picking. I like to use my index finger down the back. Some people like to use index and middle. That's okay. Okay, but get a good solid grip on the pick. It's kind of like if I'm going to write. I wouldn't hold my pencil way up here and try and write. It's not going to work well. I want to hold it down by the point, and now I have a lot of fine control as I write and a good solid grip. I'm not going to lose my hold on this pencil. Same thing with the pick. Okay. Also, experiment with picks. Find the thickness that you like. Medium's a good one to start for a lot of people, which is about a 0.6, 0.7 millimeter. Find a grip that or a pick that has some gripability to it. Some sort of ridges or material that you can really grip onto well. It makes a huge difference. And just experiment. So that's number one. That's basic pick. Pick 101. And get a ton of picks. Try all sorts of different shapes and sizes and thicknesses, and you're going to figure out what you like. There is no perfect pick, okay? So here's my first basic rule is to work more from your wrist than from your elbow. Okay, you're going to see lots of examples of people chugging away with their whole forearm, and sometimes they do it for show. Sometimes it's just bad technique, but they make it work. But most proficient players, you're going to see them working from their wrist more. Something like that. It's okay to get some forearm into it, but make it at least 50% from your wrist. For some people that's easy, for some people that's kind of hard. Number two, angle the pick slightly as you glide through the strings so that it is following your hand. Let me kind of go sideways here. Okay, I'm not digging in. I don't want this angle. It's gonna catch. It's gonna sound bad. I want the pick to follow my hand, and when I come up, I'm going to change the angle. Now I'm exaggerating, but I want the pick to follow my hand up. I do that a little by pivoting my wrist, and I'm totally exaggerating. It's a subtle thing. And then I'm also doing it by letting the pick flex between my fingers. Now, there's a very fine line between letting it flex a bit and having it wiggle out of your fingers. So it takes practice and conditioning to get used to that. And then my third rule is strum all the strings you're supposed to on the downstroke, but when you come up, only hit 2 or 3. Don't hit too many. Otherwise, it sounds like you're a little kid and you're playing the guitar and you're going, that doesn't sound very good. Okay? All the strings on the way down that you're supposed to hit, and then 2 or 3 on the way up. As a general rule, and we're always going to break all these rules at some point. But that should give you a really nice strum. Now, this took me a long time, the better part of a year or so, to feel confident strumming. So be realistic. It's going to take a while, and it's going to take practice. Okay? There were lots of times, too, where I'd be strumming, and I would feel like all of a sudden I'm not hitting the strings anymore. I usually let my pinky glide along the top, and that helps me judge how high my hand is. I also don't want to dig in too hard because it sounds bad. Okay? Not so good. Yeah. So those are your 3 basic right hand rules. And then I'm going to give you some strums. Okay? Now, you're all coming with different backgrounds of music knowledge. I'm going to assume you know some. Okay, if you don't, again, there's lots of good references online. But if you're in 4/4 time, and more songs are in 4/4 time than any other, and tons of worship songs are in 4/4, you got to fill up 4 beats. The simplest strum would just be a whole note. A whole note is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes people think, oh, that's too simple, it's too easy, especially when they're more advanced. But sometimes that's the perfect strum, especially if you're in a band and everybody else is busy playing. Sometimes all I do is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm playing electric, I might do something like that, but have a whole bunch of cool delay and reverb and various cool effects that kind of fill it up and make it almost sound like a keyboard sound. And then I don't want to be busy. A whole note might be all it takes. So again, listen, be aware of what you're doing. How does it fit in to the greater whole? Then I could go half notes. I could do 2 half notes. That would equal 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could do 4 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now granted, that would sound boring all the way through. But if you're just starting out, that's a good place to start. From there, we can get into eighth notes. Okay, eighth notes, every beat is divided in half. 1 and 2 and. That's how we count it. If your foot's going, you're tapping, your foot's going down, up. 1 and 2 and. And there's 2 ways we can strum. We can either follow the direction that our foot is going, down on the downbeat on the number, up on the upbeat or the and. Okay, so it's almost like a string is tied between my foot and the pick. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And the other way is to do all downstrokes, even though we're playing eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and gives you a little bit more of a rock and rolly sound. And in all honesty, most people mix it up as they get more advanced. I might be playing something like... Okay, you'll figure out what your style is. I think the majority of people in everyday guitar playing tend to alternate more, unless you're doing more rock, metal, that sort of thing. So we're gonna follow that rule, okay? And constant eighth notes is a good thing to practice. It creates a lot of excitement and energy. Again, if you do it all the way through, it might get a little boring. But it's very important because it's the basis for a lot of other strums. Just being able to keep this guy going all the way through, or keep my right hand driving the rhythm all the way through, is super important. Okay, it's all, in one way it's easy, because you're not mixing up with quarters and halves and other notes. In one sense it's hard, because I don't have any pauses to correct myself if I'm going too fast or too slow. So sometimes when we're strumming eighth notes, if you're just, starting out on guitar, things are going good, and then all of a sudden you start going too fast, or you start going too slow, and it's kind of hard to correct yourself. Whereas if you had a long, short, short, long, short, short, it gives you a chance to get back on track again. So practice eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, and eventually that's going to give you the ability to do stuff like this, where I'm keeping a constant eighth note groove, but I'm accenting or I'm changing chords on certain beats. So something like this. Okay. Now, I'll give you a few basic strum ideas here, mixing up quarters and eighths. So a good one is just quarter note to eighth notes. Quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, or a quarter note on beat 1 and then the rest eighth notes. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I think that works a little better with faster songs. That one really gives a lot of emphasis to beat 1. And then let me talk about 3/4 time. Okay, 3 beats per measure. I could do a dotted half note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, whole song of that would be boring, but it might be a good starting point. Or if I'm playing along with other people in the band and they're doing something busy, dotted half note might be perfect for my part. Now, and I'm looking at my page over here, my cheat sheet, 3/4 notes could be good. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Getting all the way through the song would be a bit boring, but we're going to mix it up with other strums. If you know one strum in 3/4 time, though, it should be this one. Down, down, up, down, up. Okay, quarter note and 4/8 notes. Down, down, up, down, up, 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 boom. Or sometimes I say boom, chugga, chugga, boom, chugga, chugga. Boom, chugga, chugga, 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 boom. Okay, you can't go wrong with that in 3/4 time. I might even do that one all the way through a song. Okay, but with any of these, the trick is going to be mixing and matching different patterns. Okay, but I would suggest practicing them separately to begin with. Oh, last thing too. When you can change chords well, get a metronome. And you can find a good metronome online, or you could find an actual physical metronome. So I've got one right here called, what is it called? Metro Timer. And so I can get a nice little beat going, and I can set it to whatever speed I can play at, or the song is at. And it's going to hold me to keeping a steady tempo. And as much as I like to think I'm a good rhythm player, if I don't keep working with the metronome, even after years of playing, I get kind of sloppy. Okay, and especially when you're starting out and you're learning good rhythm, get a metronome. Or a lot of times I like practicing with drum beats, and I have some cool virtual drumming apps from the recording work that I do. But you can just go on YouTube and type in drum beats 4/4 time, 60 beats per minute, 80 beats per minute, and you will find a bunch of different ones that you can practice with. Okay, so there's great resources out there. Drums are a lot cooler to practice with than just click, 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 click. But a metronome is still great too. Okay, so either way, practice with something that's going to work on helping you keep your timing constant. That way when you come and play with other people, you're going to be a lot more solid. Okay, so good luck with that. See you in the next video.